Hello. Hello. What is happening? What is happening? Silk Song is happening. Yeah, I saw some player numbers that were pretty high for that game. Pretty high. I was gonna play Silk Song, and the numbers got high. Right? Something like that. Okay, why does this fucking work? Let's make it maximally. I'm trying to debug something that is happening on the overworld. And I don't exactly know. All right, well. Why isn't it happening? This is going to be one of those annoying things. Like, why does that happen? So there it was fine. I think it's probably good though, like even for indies that came out today, because okay. So we're getting a clue. So what happens? Wait, why didn't that save my level? That should have saved my frickin' thing. Okay, that didn't drop the thing. Is it because there's a freezer there? I don't think so. But who knows? Oh, it might be. Yeah. It might be. It might be something about. No, I mean, the thing is, when it breaks, it always seems to break there between the first rock and the second rock. And, like, why would that be? I don't have a way right now to. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to transaction log start. We're going to restart. So it's not in the middle of the transaction. All the rovers go. This one does a rock, and the other rock doesn't go. So why? Why? We're going to have to debug this. Okay, so move attempt. Okay, so we're going to see how that goes. Oh, we're in move transaction. Okay. Did I dance today? Not really. Why are we? We've got breakpoints from yesterday. That's the name of an art film. Breakpoints from yesterday. Okay, we hit our breakpoint from today. Okay, so supported will be 0 things. We will undoubtedly find this rock by the time we get to here. We did. This is correct so far. That's fine. That's fine. So we make a support move. This is all correct. Okay. So now, okay. So this is all for reasons that are unbeknownst to anyone. All the rovers are in the same transaction. So we're iterating through and doing more rovers, but we found everything that we need. Let's verify that it's still the same thing that we think. So we're going to go type info struct entity type. Okay, that is a rock. Can we go? Yes. We add a move. We remove the attempt. We made progress. Wait, what? Okay, I'm going to think that that was weird debuggerness. So now we call add breath support moves recursively. All right, so we should have one move, right? Single moves dot count. Yep. So now we have support movers is one move. And we're going to add breadth first support moves into that. Okay. So now we're back in the same function. This better still be a rock. Type info struct rock. Okay, great. So now the question is anyone supported by this rock? My guess is the answer is no, but we'll see. No. Okay, why is that? Why is that? Okay. So one thing we can do is we can start looking at the rock that's on top of this one. And ask, you know, what happens? Is it supported when we load in? I mean, it should be. Like we must initially evaluate supports. So the question is, does it get broken by something? Or like what's going on? Okay. What is the deal with airplane food? What is the deal? All right. So that's also from before, I think. Or no, that was from today. Okay. So this one is following. This one is not. 60-53672. All right. All right. Dude, my space bar is not working very well right now. Okay. So here's actually what we're going to do. We're going to go all right. Dude, my space bar. All right. So, first thing we're going to do, yeah, we're just going to call sanity find rock from here. And we're going to make sure that works. So airplane food. No, airplane food tastes bad because it's awful. What do you mean? Okay. So position scale, orientate. I guess we didn't need all this information. Wait. Supported by 6055857. Okay, I bet that's the freezer, right? Actually, that wouldn't make sense either. It is the freezer. But it's not even the freezer that that guy was on. Because that guy is 53672. Oh, but it would be. Oh, geez. All right. This is going to be on theme from yesterday. I think. And this is a good bug to catch because this could cause lots and lots of subtle bad behaviors. Okay, the deal is going to be when we load the overworld, um, all these freezers get cleared out and opened up. Um, we don't exactly do it through the undo system um, for reasons, I guess. But that probably happens after we evaluate support. And so we run evaluate support. And it's confusing because these are down one from where they are now because we played back the undo data, but the freezer didn't get stored in undo data that way. All right, let's see. Let's see. So this is going to be in level start, reevaluate. Bro, my space bar stopped working. It's actually kind of gimpy looking right now. It's like sort of leaning toward one side. I'm going to hammer it a little bit. Hope it gets, oh, that's a little better actually. Okay. Just today, also the delete key on my laptop started being gimpy. So yeah. Okay, so old freezers. Where is that? So level start reevaluate is called in init level general 362. Unlock old freezers is in init level general 411. Okay, let's not split this stuff up. Okay. What was it called? We were doing unlock old freezers. And that needs to happen before what? Wait, I'm confused. We're in init level general, right? Was it level start reevaluate? Oh, there's all sorts of stuff that could be bad holio here. Okay, so this is in init level general. And the old freezers, oh, it's also in init level, right? Maybe I can do this here. Wait. I think this was not inside this actually loaded. So I think we do that. All right, hold on. But I think we only should need to do it one time. So maybe we can put it. Yeah, that was down here. Oh, this looks for and unlocks new stuff. Okay, let's actually. this was down there after had any player knitted move. We'll just put it in literally the same place. All right, how's that going to go for us? Mildly scary changes. Still on framework? No. No, they are not easy to fix. And no, I'm not using that piece of shit anymore. I haven't for months and months. What the fuck? I mean, okay, this is a little bit bad because maybe now we've got... Maybe we've got weird undo states. What the shit is happening? This is so weird, dude. We're going to do the old Control-Alt-Shift-G. All right. We don't see supported by ID in the fucking thing. Ah! Okay, but you see, like this has a similar thing where we don't unlock the freezers. I hate this, dude. I'm just tired of this. I want to be done with this game. I want to be done with the game and stupid shit has to get fixed. This is... Like, why am I doing this instead of designing? Because we can't find people who will do it at decent quality level. It's crazy. All right. Yeah, we're almost done. It'll be good. We're almost done. Okay, so I mean, what I can just do, I am making some assumptions about what is going on, right? So here's what I can do. Remember our function that we just made. Where was that? Was that in move transaction? Yeah. Okay. Um, okay, so instead of dumping that giant entity data, we're just gonna do that. And we're just gonna use that. Comment. All right. So from here, we're going to say sanity find rock before unlock old freezers. All right. And then here we're going to say wait, we actually switch. Don't do that. Okay. Let's just, it'll be fine. I was just trying to trim out something, but it doesn't matter. Okay. So if we actually loaded, we'll go before level start reevaluate, and we'll go after level start reevaluate. All right. Well, I'm just working on this code base when it's done. Yeah, the next code base uh, will involve this code base. Supported by 0. So now it's not supported by anyone. Which is different from how things were. So sometimes that happens, right? Yeah, now it's never supported by anybody. So we did, they say make the change you want to see in the world. We made a little bit of the change that we want to see in the world, in that we unfroze freezers. So now it's not on the freezer anymore. However, it is not on the rock. Let's look to see what happens. Update supports. Oh, it says incomplete. Really? Happens in move transaction? Update support. I mean, I guess we'll do this. This is kind of a scary change. But I did write a comment. All right. Does this make a difference? Will it be possible to zoom in or out? Sometimes we have alternate viewpoints in the levels. But we don't let you zoom out indefinitely because otherwise there's might not be any art for the thing. Didn't mean to recompile. That's fine. I'm getting so frustrated with this, dude. This is like... It's very easy to get in a mental spiral about this sometimes. It's like I have so many important things to work on, and my life is being destroyed by the fucking rock that just falls. You know? This is video games, but like, dude, like I said, the frustration is like I've been working on the rock that falls for like 30 years, right? Like, can't we hire people who have the skills to do this? And the answer is maybe not. It's just so hard. So I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it because we can't ever find people who can do it. All right. Well, apparently either this isn't setting it or it's getting cleared afterwards. So let's find out. Um, all right. We win these. It's just frustrating. It's just fucking unbelievably frustrating, dude. Like you have no idea. I mean, so this probably loaded in wrong. So we have to reset up. All right. So now we'll take a look at what the state is. Dude, I've just done so many of these in my career. Somebody else would benefit greatly. Okay, so I saw zeros again. Somebody else would benefit greatly from learning these skills. Okay, wait, I don't see any before update supports. That's confusing. Before unlock old freezers. Okay, we have a bunch of... Let's make sure we see all of these. So... Okay, so... Before unlock old freezers. Before level start, after level start evaluate. We don't ever have update supports. Did I not save the file? The file certainly is modified. Okay, so before update supports it's 0. After update supports it is 0. Why? You thought the rock falling was intentional the whole time? Well, then maybe it's your fault. Maybe it is your fault. Okay, here we go. Update support on it. It is the rock that we are looking for. Okay. Okay, we're just going to do this. Is it supported? False. That's very strange. So, sometimes when things are really confusing, often when things are really confusing, there's more than one problem, right? And this is perhaps one of those cases. All right. So, okay, so we found the freezer that is melted, right? We should see it and we should ignore it, but maybe we're doing something besides ignoring it. Wait. Oh, we see ourself actually. So we're about to hit this if statement. Yeah. All right. Now, maybe we see the freezer. Oh, there's a fence. Okay. So we check for flat things and then we check for solid things. The flat things didn't. I guess the freezers don't count as flat things there because they never support anything when they're melted. All right. So now, what are we looking at? A rock. This is the rock in the solid supporter position. So, oh, this could be it right here. Oh, no. Wait, what? I think we decided it was falling. And is falling is inlined right now. But we could just check status flags. Falling objects count true. Oh. Wait, what? Post move reevaluate. Does evaluate fall on everybody? Okay, interesting. Right, this is the rock again, yeah. So we say that it's supported. This is a different support check that I didn't realize was there. Okay. So we return true here. So here we say we're not going to fall. Okay, now we're before update supports. Now we're in this code that we just added. E status flags, E undoable data status flags. Falling. Why did we decide this guy's falling? So the guy below us is falling. And okay, here's the thing. This is actually somewhat recent code, but you know, when a stack of things starts falling, the objects are always one square on top of each other, but they're essentially in 0G, right? Because they're all falling together. So a thing in the middle of the stack is not supported by the thing below it if everything is falling, right? So we need to see why he shouldn't be falling, because there should be a rover right underneath him. Maybe that rover is falling, and that would be incredibly screwy because I can't think of any reason why that should happen. Okay, where to test for fall? All right. E entity ID is this. Do you run into the program where you can't vocalize what you want before hiring because people will say what you want to hear? I mean, that's always a problem. But like, no, the problem is just everybody sucks. And I don't even mean like, okay, there's multiple axes of suck, right? But they all add up. So one of the problems that we see most commonly, so it depends who you're trying to hire, right? So let's say I interview someone who had a job at another well-known game company, for example, which I've done a number of times, right? Usually I talk to this person lately, and this is only a problem since, like, let's say 2020 or something. Usually I talk to this person, they have good references. Somebody at the company's like, oh yeah, this person did this cool thing for this game, right? I'm thinking of some specific examples. And then I talk to the person and it's like, yeah, this guy didn't really do very much. And I can tell that by talking to him. Like by the standards that I grew up in, this guy doesn't do very much every day. He might think that he does a reasonable amount of work, but like it's not enough to make a game if those are the people that you have, right? So, in a lot of companies, it's this thing where you know, there's this saying that's roughly true. The square root of the number of employees does, 90% of the work or something, or effectively all of the work. Um, I think that's usually true, but in the games industry, just that phenomenon is way worse than it ever was. And so most people we talk to just haven't done that much work and don't do that much work, but they think that they're doing fine. And if I said, "Hey, I don't think you do very much," they might be offended, right? Because they've grown up in these big cushy environments where, so there's been this whole thing. There's been all these political ramifications and all these things, like in the same way that everybody goes overboard about everything, right? Back back some years ago, there was some controversy, early to mid 2010s. There was some controversy in the games industry about studios that crunched too much and it sort of, put employees in abusive situations or whatever you want to say. And that definitely happens sometimes, right? I don't think it was ever the majority of the industry, but there were some places that were notorious for that. And game journalists made a big stink about it before everybody realized uh, how seemingly uninterested in accuracy game journalists have become. And then all these studios are like, no, 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 we're progressive, nice, good people. So they way overcorrected on this. And so there was this culture of like, oh, if people don't really work that much, that's fine because we're not a mean employer or whatever, right? And that works as long as you're in, you know, uh, easy times when the money just falls on you, right? But people may know that starting, in late 2023, it became really hard times in the games industry. And that's why all these companies have been having layoffs. There were new layoffs even announced in the past couple of days, right? It's much, much harder times, right? And so decisions that you made back when times were easy are not appropriate when times are hard, right? But the problem is if you lost your talent base because nobody remembers how to do that, like work for real, your whole industry now has a problem, right? Have I considered that my expectations are too high? No. And here's the reason why. If you say, oh, dude, your expectations are too high, blah, 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 and you staff the entire game industry with the people who I'm talking about, you will, that if that happens, then the peak of video games was at least 5 years ago. You will never again have games as good as what we had 5, 10 years ago, ever. Forget forget a growing industry. Forget an industry that creates new things. It's done. It's done. Okay. Are we talking about not enough work in terms of number of hours spent or because they're not accomplishing much by being inefficient with their time? Well, some combination of both. Like, I don't tend to have visibility into how many hours a day a person worked at a company or pretended to work at a company, right? But all I can do, the perspective that I have is I look at their resume and it's like, I spent 2 or 3 years at this company on these projects. And said, okay, let's talk about what you did. And what they have to say about what they did is usually not very much for 2 or 3 years of time. And so what is the cause of that? I don't know, because I don't have visibility into their day to day, but probably it's usually a mixture of all these things. They don't really work a full work day, and they're very inefficient with their time when they're supposedly working a full work day. They need Pomodoro every 15 minutes, so they watch YouTube videos, so they only end up working 2 hours a day, like whatever. I don't know, but it's very consistent. It's hard to find people who aren't in that mode when we're hiring. You don't want to work more than 8 hours. I don't ask people to work more than 8 hours, right? 8 hours, I think, is a full work day. Good luck finding people who work 5 hours or 4 hours. It's hard. It's really hard. Like people don't seem to understand what an emergency this is, right? Um, I think I think there's a very big divide in like blue collar jobs where somebody absolutely has to be there doing the thing or it doesn't get done, right? People are working full work days. But in these like white collar jobs with like quasi fake email jobs and all that, like the amount of, even of the fake work, the amount of work that people do is just going down over time. And what happens is companies don't really know how productive people are supposed to be. The way they know is by observing it. They look at the better people and the worse people and ask the worse people to be like the better people. That's like the only way that your target productivity. And so if that's declining over time, then the company's expectations just decline over time and it'll become unable to do very much and it'll die and it won't even understand why. It won't even understand that it's due to like productivity dropping over time. I mean, if everything else were static and people wanted to be honest and diagnose this, then you could tell. But situations are complicated. Often the people managing or working don't want to diagnose this, right? Their incentive is not to. And situations are changing enough from year to year that you're not making an apples to apples comparison anyway. People don't believe in the country anymore. When that happens, they stop working. I think that is an aspect of it. It's not just believing in the country, but believing that your life has a purpose, believing that there's a reason to work because it's contributing to something, as opposed to just like pretending to work to take home a paycheck. Like, yes, we've lost these things. Anyway, that's even only one problem. I think it's the biggest problem now, but it's only one problem. There are lots of other problems. I'm just saying it's hard to hire people who are good. We do have people who are good right now. Okay, so I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying the number of people who are good is zero. I'm very happy with our team right now. It's a good team. Um, but like I said, we don't have as much programming power. Like almost everybody in the world would think we are insane. All right. Let me tell you what we are doing, right? So we're making one of the biggest puzzle games ever made, probably the biggest by a significant factor. Um, in our own engine, which we made for this game, which is in our own programming language, which we made new for this, right? So the compiler was in development the whole time. Um, and we're shipping on multiple platforms, etc. Right? How many programmers do you think Google would have on staff for those tasks that I just listed? Right? I don't even know how many digits the number is, but it's 3 digits or more, certainly. Probably 4 digits or 5 digits. All right. How many programmers do we have right now? The answer is 3. And and that's if you count me, and I'm doing all this other stuff like design and running the company and doing the story for the game and all that stuff, right? So like you couldn't even truthfully say 3. Somehow we're doing it. Now it's taking a long time. We did have more programmers at various points in the past, but it was also the case that some of them were very unproductive, which is why we have less now. Because I was like, at some point when things got really hard, I'm just like, look, the people who are not really very productive can't be on the team anymore. Times are too hard for that. We just need the people who are really contributing. Um, because otherwise you die. We came so close to dying, dude. It's not even funny. So close, people don't even know. Um, so yeah, I mean, in summary, it's just hard, right? But that's why I have standards, because we're trying to do things. We're trying to do things that are meaningful and important, and that are contributing to the industry in a significant way. And you know, we're gonna succeed. We're at the point where things look very good, but I'm also going insane because I'm debugging why the fuck is this rock falling? And like I should not be doing this 30 years into my career as the owner and CEO of the company. I should not be doing this. But it is the situation that we have. So, you know. Ken Levine said something similar. Too many people is hard to manage. He's running a much smaller crew for his next game. Is that in an interview lately or something? I get it, dude. Like, I think especially at the beginning of a game, you want a small team. Maybe the game industry is going to go more toward the Hollywood model for that reason, because you just don't want to carry over a big team from project to project. But the problem with that model, of course, is then when you want to scale up toward the middle or end of a project, it's hard to find people who are good. They probably have to be contractors. That might drive the industry toward unionization, which also I think would be very, very bad for making games that are good. So I don't know. Who knows where the future will go? I am just lamenting that I'm working on the rock that is falling. That's all. If you can keep small teams, why not diversify the projects you're working on? Oh, so you would like me to work on even more projects than the number that I already listed. Great plan. Actually, we do have one more project. We actually do have someone who just came on the programming team who's seems great so far. Um, I didn't list him because he's not working on this game. He's working on a different project. So really, we have 4 programmers, but yeah, one's on another project. And actually, if you count Raphael, who's working on the compiler, uh, he's part time. So it's not quite as bleak as what I said. It's not quite as bleak. Um, he's actually contributing to the game a little bit too, so it's not that bad. But we don't have a Google number of programmers, right? We don't have a Google programmers working on this game in engine and compiler. Have I seen the new 007 game? Yeah, there sure is a lot of manjaw in that game. Is Casey still on call for things here or there? I think he's doing his own thing, and I think it's taking a lot of his time and energy. Like, back in the Witness days when he worked on that, it was just because he wanted to do some direct contribution to a game. And I think he liked the game and um, saw a way that he could contribute to it that was very uh, concrete and interesting to him. And so he just came over and did that, right? But in this game, like the situation's different for this game. All right. But yeah, dude, if I see somebody's resume and it looks promising in terms of what teams and projects they were on, like a programmer, I mean, specifically, usually when I interview that person now, they didn't do that much. And it was very different like 10 years ago or even 5 years ago if you interviewed someone. They just, for the equivalent resume, they actually did more and could talk to you about more about what they did. So I don't know if that's going to shake itself out. I don't know if all these industry layoffs are going to keep going until this gets solved. Um, who knows? Who knows? Okay. So we don't have a transaction yet, right? No, we do. There's 12 things falling. That's not good. Let's see if we get here. E is D5C8, D5C8. Oh wait. No, we got to clear this. Yeah, okay, so we didn't skip here. So we're calling evaluate fall. Okay, interestingly, it's not supported. Probably because the rover is falling. That is my guess. But the rover's like on solid ground, so that's really weird. Let's see. We're just going to step through. Okay, flat supporters, no. Okay, we are looking at the freezer. Oh, maybe freezer does trigger is flat. Let's see. Okay, so we continue. Okay, weird. We didn't find the rover at all. What position are we in? X equals -3, Y equals 149. Why don't we see the rover? -149 is a really big Y coordinate. Minus, oh, wait. Um, yeah. -3, 149, 46. All right. Sorry. I was thinking Z coordinate. It's a perfectly fine Y coordinate. So -3, 149, 44, 45, 46. Yeah. Here's what we're going to do. Oh, I removed our breakpoint. I don't remember the entity ID. Oh, yeah. Let's do something else here. So here, I'm just going to literally look up all these entities that are supposed to be stacked. Okay. We've got 653670. Okay, we're in Sokoban line 917. ID rover, make entity ID 60. What is it? 60, no. Yeah, 653670. ID rock 1, make entity ID 6536. Okay, easy. And then that's going to be 53672, which we will verify. 53672. Okay. So So let's just check that. I blocked your friend on Twitter for saying Visual Studio is good. Well, no, that's probably not why I blocked your so-called friend. Usually, I block people for being rude, condescending assholes and or not speaking to me in an appropriate manner in some other way. Or doing that to somebody else. Right? Usually it's to me because it's my account, but when I see people do that to somebody else as well. All right. Like if somebody just doesn't have that much programming experience and hasn't really done very much, and they come along and they speak offensively or rudely or act like somebody who has actually done things, uh if they're speaking down to that person, then they just get blocked because there's so much trash like that on the internet. And it doesn't matter if it's me or Casey, I see that a lot, or like if somebody does that, if they're like some clown Holio and they're trying to talk down to somebody who I know is a really good programmer, and this other person has like maybe done some web pages or something, it's block. Instablock. All right. Yeah, vibe coding engineer. That's actually a lot of them because they have this newfound identity as like the smart guy cuz I vibe code and vibe coding is cool now, so I'm the smart guy. And then if you say maybe vibe coding isn't 100% of what everyone is saying it is, they get really upset because you're like questioning their identity, I think. Bubble is about to pop. I think so. I think it's actually kind of starting to pop in the following way, right? Like there was all this VC funding for all of these companies that were basically just, put an LLM in a thing, right? Like I think the early ones of those have failed enough that uh funding sources have slowed down on funding that. Now, there are quite a few kinds of companies still being funded, but the baseline thing is not anymore, or it's much rarer. What's going to happen to Nvidia stock? Unpredictable, but I bet it'll keep going up for a while. All right, I'm going to grab a snack and move my legs for a second. And then when we come back, we will look at this situation. Let's actually pre-look. Okay, actually these will all be zero. Let's actually check -3 149. Bro, just what just happened there? Okay. So this is weird. Okay, this is level start reevaluate. Actually, it makes complete sense that rock 1 starts falling here. Because it is to work around another problem with this, which we'll then go do later. To work around another problem with this, I had made this start by falling. And here we have loaded the level, but we haven't loaded the undo data yet, right? So we do init level general, and here we load the undo data. And so actually we want to add a thing here that checks our guys. And see if, because the state should be correct after loading the undo data, because support info and all this stuff is stored in there, I believe. And so maybe post undo reevaluate messes it up or something else like that. Or maybe we don't clear the falling flag and something weird happens. I don't know. We're just going to check that. But first, snack time. Snack time. Back in a second. Okay. This is before undo. This is after undo. All right. Okay. These are exactly the positions that we saw last time. That makes sense. Oh, wait. This is the one from last time. Okay, here we are. Still the ones. That makes sense because we haven't loaded our undo state. So this is still the state of the level prior to anything happening in terms of restoring things. Okay, now you'll note these are stacked on each other. Okay. This is what we want. Okay. Okay, so do I set a data breakpoint? So here's the thing. Rock 1 does get supported. Okay, hold on. What's it called? Status flags. Falling. It is falling. After loading the undo data. So now I'm actually not sure if we loaded corrupted data or not, right? Okay, this is also very messed up. I undid back to this point. And it didn't fall at all. What's going on? Well, it has to do with the freezers. Okay, this is really weird. Because we're supposed to evaluate fall on this. Like, what? Every move, we're testing 3,000 things to see if they fall. Okay, it has status flags falling, guys. Oh no. This is a bug that we've seen before where if things have status flag falling, we actually don't check them for fall because they're falling. Okay. I have a theory for how this happened. So when we unlock freezers, okay, let's fix a different bug at the same time. Let's at least have some kind of guaranteed victory tonight, right? So the whole reason we're setting up this weird thing where this thing is falling to start is because there was something else that didn't work. I will show you what that was. So, oh, that not everything is in this group where it's supposed to be. Let's fix that. Just in case we want to move this or whatever. All right. Weird. I would have thought that I would have fixed all that. All right. Whoops. There we go. So now we hide hopefully everything. Yep. Oh, nope. Dude, grouping. It's my constant bane. Okay. So the reason I did this was because when this rover unfreezes, these things were not being supported by it either. So I was like, okay, if it falls on it, then we'll be okay because that'll evaluate the support. And this was my temporary hack, right? Really, we wanted to do this. Okay. The problem is this didn't work either. I'm just going to delete these entities to redo everything. So really what we want is just this. Okay. So we're just going to go back and make this work because this is what we really want anyway. And then we can try to figure out this other thing, but it's a lower priority because the only time you would have that other thing is if you set that up, and we normally don't set it up. It's a very weird thing to do. So let's just do what we want. And this is, I think, very easily fixable. So here, we just have to say, look, if we unfreeze, somebody on top of us might, you know, they might fall because we're no longer supporting them. And then when you evaluate the fall, that should be when you notice that it's supported by the rover. I hope that might not be what happens. But let's see. When do you unset falling? Is it in a falling frame? The deal is, if falling is set, it means you're supposed to be in a falling transaction. All right. Let's just start over here.
Bevis, to the perimeter.
Arm
the traps.
Okay,
Connor.
so
Connor? Errol? A?
So it is weird that falling was set, but we weren't in a transaction. Probably what that means. Oops, I accidentally turned on the animation. Probably what that means is, so when we do the freezers, that's not a transaction, right? And so maybe even though we make a falling transaction, maybe it's like not going into undo correctly or something. I don't exactly know. Okay. Anyway, the point is, if I just go in here and cheat these levels, it should just go. Hey, okay, that's all we really wanted. So we fixed the de facto bug. Now the problem is there's still a bad behavior that we don't like, but, and it's a big but, it won't ever happen if we don't set up level data in that way. But it makes me uncomfortable because there's maybe other classes of problems, right? So we still need to look into it sometime. But I wanted to ship a beta tonight to the playtesters that had this fixed, and this does appear to be fixed. But let's do the test, right? We're going to quit when this thing is there, and now we're going to reload, and we're going to see if something weird happens. Maybe it will. Wait, that wasn't... Maybe it moved while we were fading in, do you think? Let me, I'm going to cheat and walk out to this corner so you can tell that I should be in that corner when we reload. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Do you normally add a quick assert for the faulty level structure? I did. Okay, so he was moving when we were moving. So this is good. I'm going to revert these other changes we did, because we did make some other changes that we don't need. And then we'll just investigate further at a later time. Do you normally add a quick assert for the faulty level structure? Okay, here's the thing. These little things that melt that are dropping the objects only exist in this one level. Well, 2 levels. There's 2 levels where they exist, and I know what I am doing with them, and they are mostly fine. Now, however, we do need to test the code that I just did could cause problems potentially, maybe, right? And so we need to check that. But like, it's actually, it might sound like a cop-out, but the thing is, games can't just handle an infinite amount of stuff because it is a toy world. What is going on there? It is a toy world, and there's a limit. Oh, that's the reflection of this. It looks like it's flow going sideways. There tends to be a limit of what your simulation can handle, right? So you just have to choose that limit appropriately. Okay, here's a thing that I'm wary about, right? So if I go cheat this level, that rock in this freezer above me should fall, but the one above it should not fall, right? And we just want to make sure that's still true. Yeah. All right. And then if I cheat these, then that should fall. And then if I reset, they all go. Yeah. As Tim Robinson once said, I made this game. I know what all the things are, right? So like I know what the simulator needs to handle, and that is a little bit of a cop out, but like dude, we've been working on this game so long. Like, and that's with me carefully picking my battles like this at all times. So it's gnarly. When the game comes out, you'll know why it was so gnarly. All right, so we got to revert to Williams some stuff. And then check that this is still working. So we're going to revert these. And then we're going to make sure that this one. Yep. Okay. So we literally just did a one-line fix out of the 2 hours that we've been streaming. Good times, huh? Good times. Will there be a level editor with custom player-made maps? Not on launch. Not on launch. And even if there is, like, again, it's a thing in games where you choose what you can handle. There's other stuff like that in this game. There's like things at the edge of the simulation space that we just choose not to do. However, this is a really mundane one that should work, with air quotes around should, and I probably will fix it before launch. It's just like, dude,
Errol, arm the tracks.
it's like, dude, I gotta ship this tonight and
Errol, A,
and all this stuff. It's how you succeed in the game industry. This game is it's just incredibly complicated, and complication is always the bottleneck. All right. Hey. Oh my goodness. All right, we're going to make a release build and do a Benny test. And all this stuff. No, I didn't mean to do that. This should not get checked in. Online every 2 hours is standard. Well, earlier today, I did much more than one line, so don't worry about it. This is in the after hours times. That is better than adding corruptive patching that made the game more complex. Exactly. So one of the reasons why I reverted all that stuff was, remember, we added this loop that rechecks support of things. But then I realized, oh, like level start reevaluate calls post undo reevaluate, even though it's not an undo, because there's a lot of things common to both. Or actually it's a superset, right? And that had a support recomputation. And so we were essentially, if we left that in, we would be adding a bunch of code that doesn't really help and is just going to confuse people later and take CPU time and introduce more possible bugs and whatever. And the thing is, junior programmers will do that. They will do that. You don't want to do that. Any new Screenshot Saturday sneak peeks? Well, I thought about doing one today. We had our art meeting yesterday where we go through the levels. And, you know, they all look really good. Like, we've just reached a point where we kind of know what we're doing on this game. With that stuff, there's still a little bit of visual development that we're doing with some of the gameplay entities that have been temporary and all that. But when it comes to levels, we got it down, honestly. They're going all right. So, you know, we talk about how to make them somewhat better during the meeting and stuff, but they're good. But then what I realized after the art meeting, usually when we do the meeting, I'll like note down a couple of levels that are new, and those will be the Screenshot Saturdays. And I just forgot to do that this time. So I don't have a Screenshot Saturday in the chamber, so to speak, but there's quite a few levels. We could look at what's recent. You usually don't want the absolute most recent because those will be things that are still being worked on. So let's go back a little bit. This is one of the ones we looked at. Spoilers. It doesn't look that cool in overhead map. Wait, why does literally every... Yeah, literally every screen has power on it. Let's see. This was a style thing that we were sort of experimenting with. I think the play surface is a little bit too unreadable, but we'll do something like this. This is a small, simple level. Not much to say. It's just hard to know what is a good Screenshot Saturday. You know? Anyway, usually I would do this for a bit and pick a screenshot Saturday. Okay, we're going to do a Benny test because that is part of what I do. I'm actually not sure it's necessary anymore, but we haven't shipped a playtest without doing a Benny test, and it's a good way to check that crashes haven't been introduced. So we're going to do one. Any programming questions while this runs? Anyone? Bueller. Have you ever considered narrowing the scope instead of continuing to pursue the full vision? No, because this game has a purpose behind existing, and if you mess with that purpose, then you've done something pretty bad because you've kind of wasted years of your life at that point. Like it'll make sense when it comes out. Like there's a reason why it's so big, and if you mess with that and cut part of it out, I mean, we could cut out the parts that are already done, right? But that's not the problem. The problem is the parts that aren't done, which we can't really do anything about. Earlier, I ran the game from the terminal and debugger seemed to attach on its own. No, I did not. I ran it from Visual Studio. You can attach if you want, but that's also a manual process. Opinion on ECS for game development. I talked about this 100,000 times. It is a complete waste of your time and everyone else's time, and it's a complete waste of my time to even talk about it. So don't bother. Break out of nested loops. Well, I would say a lot of programming languages these days have a way to break out of nested loops. But certain ones don't. We all know which ones don't. When did I get into tea? I mean, a long time ago. Because I just don't like coffee and stuff, right? So I drink tea. Um, Other recommendations: Harney and Sons Hot Cinnamon Spice, but not the version that's in the bags. You got to get loose leaf for it to be good. The bag version is just really weak sauce for some reason. I'm also just a fan of like English breakfast tea of any kind that's good, brewed really strong and then with lots of milk and honey in it. Man, that's also how I do Golden Monkey sometimes. Do we have anything surprising that we've found to make the graphics API work well? Not really, because modern graphics APIs have all sort of converged on the same general functionality of how you talk to a GPU. So, um, you know, you got rejected from a Ubisoft internship because they said your code wasn't ECS enough. Well, whoever was judging that was fired, unless they told you to make it ECS. Working on an internal tech conference. Any tips for giving talks in a conference setting? I mean, I just did it a lot until I was good at it. What I would say is you should practice your talk. In general, all the talks that I do that are good, I did at least twice end to end talking to myself in the hotel room or whatever, right? It's better when you're starting if you have an audience because that makes you approach it as if it really is the talk, just an audience of a couple people. But once you get more experienced, it's just more about getting it in your brain and making sure you can run through it. But and when I say practice it, I mean literally I stand there and say the talk out loud. It is not good enough to flip through the slides and sort of say stuff in your head because that just doesn't work. There's a lot of the work of communication that's not being done in that case. Do I like PuRT? It's all right. Yeah. Not as good as some of these other things that I said for me. Three blue, one brown presents it to various friends before he does a video. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Have I personally done much with compute shaders? I mean, every game now uses compute shaders. Yeah. I've done a little bit of them. Um, it is what it is. You've always done internal monologues for presentations. Yeah, it comes out a lot better when you've actually said it, I think. Although, here's the thing, sometimes sometimes lately I'm doing a different style of presentation, which is just like, look, I know this material so well. I don't really do that. So for example, my LambdaConf talk, which I gave a few months ago, 4 months at this point, geez, something like that. Um, I didn't practice that one. I just sort of I didn't even really have slides for it. It was just like Emacs text and then showing the programs. Um, I definitely ran through what I was going to do several times, but I did it sort of silently and just thinking about what I was going to do. But I have years and years and years of giving presentations practice. So I wouldn't necessarily try that if you don't have much experience. What's direction for assembly SIMD in the new language? I'm going to bag assembly. It's just going to be external. If you want to do assembly, we're not going to have it built into the compiler. Um, we're going to do something else for SIMD. I don't want to say what it is, both because it might take a little bit and because I don't want literally everyone in the world to copy like they always do. So I'm just going to keep it under wraps till we launch it. How many talks until you felt comfortable with it? I have no idea. No idea. I've done this a lot, guys. Like 1 year at GDC, I was in 6 sessions that year. Now, one of them was like a panel. One or two of them were like short things, like 5 or 10 minute things, where I would give little rants or speeches. One of them was a show that I run that is not exactly a talk, but has a bunch of things. But yeah, I was literally in 6 things. 1 year at one conference. How much do I tend to sleep on the daily? If I am getting enough sleep, about 8 hours, which is probably way more often than not. But since I moved into the new place, I've been waking up a little earlier than I would like sometimes. Is there a game design theory that I consider bogus? Yeah, most of them. Most of them are oversimplified and ignore what's important. Um, I do, if you're a beginner, I like Tynan Sylvester's book. That was the one that seemed closest to accurate to me. Have I seen an example of someone taking my ideas and actually taking it to completion such that I found it interesting? No. Literally has never happened. Literally 0 times. You can theorize about why that might be. Is there anything you want to do in this game but won't because of time or budget? I mean, that's kind of a meaningless question because every single game could expand to infinity if you let it. And so you choose not to expand it to infinity for reasons of time or budget. Yes. Um, that's always true. Now, in this game, I guess there are 1 or 2 specialized things. Like, for example, um, I was maybe going to have like 3 hours of cutscenes in this game. And I don't think we're going to do that. What about the MDA framework for game design? I mean, that was sort of made by some friends of mine. It's honestly seems meaningless to me for anything. Like, I don't even exactly know what it's for, except for people who are very beginner and don't really, like don't really have a good way to conceptualize video games and are having a hard time thinking about them and stuff, right? But like I even went back some years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, let me reread the MDA stuff and just see what I think about it now. And it wasn't anything. Like I I didn't maybe it was the particular materials I was looking at, but I was just like, this is just not saying anything. Now, MDA is also very, very, very old. So who knows, right? It's like MDA is like 25 years old or something or more. So maybe it's not that surprising that I wouldn't consider it relevant anymore. I don't know. Pretty soon games will be 2 hours contiguous cutscenes followed by a single choice. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Is there anything I would consider true/law in programming? I mean, the mathematical side of the entire field of computer science qualifies, right? I don't, apart from that, I'm not totally sure what you're asking. Maybe you could have a more specific question. Would I make cutscenes unskippable? No. No, 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 no. We do not do unskippable cutscenes. No, 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 no. I mean, it's looking fine. That's not looking fine. We'll deal with that later. Wait, what am I doing? This is not a commit situation. Dude, why can't programs just respond to the cancel button? All right. Oh, I guess we will. You know, okay, let's check that. I never know. Because we do an SVN export command. And I never know if you have unchecked in changes, if it does those or not. So we're going to check that. We're going to check. Remember when I changed the rover to not have the extra thing? And hey, look, it's changed. See, it's just like this. Boom, boom. And then I'm going to quit. And then we're going to run again. And it's not going to fall on itself. Hey, all right. So now, guys, is when the net connection might go down. I'm going to go in high security mode. All right. Let's do a, you know, normally I just do a black screen like this. But we're going to add some text. How do I change this? We're going to go high security mode. We're going to select the font. Okay. All right. We may drop frames. I don't know. We may not be able to upload because there's various reasons. We changed some stuff with our Steam account. I don't know what's going to happen. Be braced for maybe dropping some frames for a while. Looks good so far. We're scanning the game. Scanning, scanning, scanning. Uploading content to Steam. Oh, it's not going to be that bad. Yeah, we only had to upload 500 megabytes though. So that's pretty good. As soon as this is done, we can come out of high security mode. And then I'll try it out on the Gabe deck. And we will see what happens. Gabe deck. Dude, this thing drains batteries so fast when it's asleep. It's still got some from a couple days ago, but not that much. All right. We're going to quit. We're going to see if it notices the update. Update. Plink. Okay. All right. Once this works, we've completed our mission for the night, and then we can do a special gaming moment for everybody out there. Special gaming moment. All right, I am playing. Awesome. Well, wait, hold on. I got to check the menu to make sure it says it was built right now. Okay, to do the gaming moment, we're going to have to go back into high security mode briefly. Hold on. Let me check the game here. Is it keeping RAM powered? I don't know what it's doing. All right. Is it? It says September 5, but it's September 4. Maybe we need to work on that. The GMT thing or whatever. It is September 5 where you're at. Well, that's great. Okay. I will say okay. Special gaming moment. I'm going to my email. I'm going to download a special thing. You don't know what it is. You couldn't even guess. Guess in chat what gaming related thing that I am downloading. I bet you have literally no idea. It's impossible. Silksong. That's a yes. Steam Frame SDK? What does that even mean? What is a Steam Frame SDK? All right, guys, are you ready for a true gaming moment? You wouldn't download a car. Steam Frame. Apparently, it's their next VR headset. You know what? Why do they change the product name every time? Like what? All right. Are you guys ready for a gaming moment? It does involve Steam. Okay. Who can tell me what is the special gaming moment? Oh my God, look at this 221.2. Look at that. Who can tell me? Yes, we have the semi-official Zachtronics Solitaire Collection Fortune's Foundation Color Visibility Improvement Patch. And this is the first real game that I've been playing with the color improvement patch. We will see. We'll see if we win or not. If we win, then it's a good patch, right? And if we don't win, then we want our money back, I think. Right? It looks so bad. I mean, it is garish. All right. However, there's no more blue-green confusion. I'll tell you what. The red did need to be more saturated. I agree. What I suspect, though, was they probably made the blue and green really bright to differentiate them, which may not have been necessary, honestly. But maybe they did that, and then it was like, oh, now the red looks dim compared to those. And then they cranked the red. But the red is too bright. It's like the brightest color of all on this screen right now. So I would tone it down for sure. But you know, this is an early this is pre alpha. So do we want 19 because we're going to get 20, or do we want 5 because of the 6 7 and the yeah, let's do this. Well, we could get king queen together and then 4 on the 5 and green 7. That's pretty good. Or king on the queen. I'm going to do it this way, even though. All right. Okay, so if we put king on the queen, 9 in the hole, 17 on the 18, 7 6 5 4 on the 8, 17 18 on the 16, or 16 over there, 6 on the 5, and then 9 on the 8. Right? Did you follow that? I hope so. I hope you did. Oh, and then we can put the 9, but let's do this first. What did I say? I didn't even do this part. Oh, I guess I did say that over there. Because we wanted the 16 and that. And that. I mean, this color patch seems like it's working to me so far, right? Okay. 12. We don't have many of the cup cards here. We could get 0 though very easily. 0 and 3 would go. 4. I mean, we could do this. We just have the extra slot. No big. Get rid of these. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Wow, the blue is really quite radiant when you're just looking at it. Boom. Boom. I mean, we've done it. We get justice. We could play some justice on the stream. It's been a while. Okay, we won the first game. So the prognosis on the patch is good. Let's change. We're not. All right. 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 green. Dude, it writes itself. 5, 6, 7. Are you kidding me? Look at all this. All right. 11 can go on the 12, 13, etc. 9. Yeah, okay, this'll work. So we do this. We do this. 3 in the hole, 19 on the 18, 9 on the 10, and those go. And then boom. All right. And then this. Come on, man. $16, $17. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Yeah, the blue just like it's nuclear blue. That is an official Pantone color. Okay. That probably wasn't the best move, but whatever. It was our move. It was what we did. Yeah, it was not a good move. I think we're probably maybe okay, maybe. Let's just do a YOLO here. We're gonna get we're gonna get all those. We're going to do this. Okay, we're going to do the, yeah, this is fine. Saved. Saved. Easy clap. Strength. Dude, I don't even know what I'm doing here. I hope I didn't just throw. I'm just moving cards around. Oh, this goes there. That's fine. See, I just have faith that it's fine. You know? Easy clap. We win again. We won again. One more. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. King, Queen, Jack, 10. Okay, do we want the 2 or do we want the 2? Well, gold 3 is right there, but it's under a king. That's hard. This is on 0 and 2 with gold 10, which can go on 9, 8. So I think we want the king over here. I think the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. All right. And then, I mean, we could basically do 8, 7, 6, 5 here. But maybe we want to get the 3 on the 4. Green 8 isn't that good right now. Let's just wait on it, though. It's not necessarily the move. All right. So we could get red 2. Green 6 is a problem. 5 on the 4 king. So we could throw away our slot, and we would have red 6 in the slot. Oh, but then it would go over here. No, this works, dude. This works. Bingo. Bingo. All right. What do we see? What do we spy with our little eye? So we have 1 and 21. Those could go quite well, but this queen is annoying. Queen is annoying. 13, also annoying. Oh, you know what? If we just throw this in the hole, right, we can just do this. I don't know why I didn't do this before. I was holding out hope for the 3, I guess. But this is just a good thing to do, all right? I mean, look at this 2, 3, 4 here. 5, 6. You know, sometimes there's numbers and they're consecutive. This 8's annoying because 7 and 9 are both right there. Ah. $15, $16 on the 14. Really? Really? What would you do with the 10? Here's what I really want to do. I want to put 10 in the hole. I want to put 14 somewhere else. Then I want to line up 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, all on this 5, right? Or I don't know. I don't know. That's like very close to happening, you know. I could put 10 in the hole, 14 up, and do. I'm just going to do it, dude. I just want to do it. I don't know if this is a game ruining move. It might be. I just want to do that. And it's not even a game ruining move, dude. Look how non-game ruining that was. Look how non-game ruining that was. Now what? Green 7, that's down there. Blue 4, that's down there. But that's not so we could do, not quite. Not quite. Red 3, where's red 3? That's there. Eh. Eh. You might YOLO again. Let's do this. That's not even a YOLO. What are you talking about, YOLO? That's not even a YOLO. Come on, man. Come on, man. Let's just do this. This is silly. We're going to do it anyway, though. Oh, wait. I didn't realize that would all pop off. Okay, that makes that less silly. This 4, 5, 6 will go as soon as we give it a chance. Like now. Boom. And that's another successful game. 3 out of 3. I think the patch is a success. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for hanging out while we fixed the little buggy Holios. It wasn't very exciting. It ended up being a one-line change, but we shipped a beta to the people. So that's good. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you later.